Okay, hi everybody. It is Thursday, April 29th, 2021, and we have another open forum today on COVID. And Gian is going to do a couple of updates. We have one question that has been submitted over the course of the last few weeks since we had our last open forum, so we'll address that as well. And just remind everybody that if you do have questions that you would like to hear something about, we will be happy to address those at this point because we've had typically one, at least for the last two, one person joining beyond ourselves. We thought we would just go ahead and record these and send them out, and you can watch it at your leisure. But if there are others who wish to actually join us, we can certainly resume that. So without further ado, Gian.
Thank you, Piper. Hello, everyone. So I just wanted to briefly review, because I know with these constant updates, it's confusing, defining what fully vaccinated means. So fully vaccinated, if you receive the 2-dose series, you have received both doses plus your 14 days out. If you receive the single dose, same thing, that one single dose plus 14 days out. That defines fully vaccinated, because there was some confusion about staff they thought they were vaccinated just having received the 1 dose. So with the 1 dose, you will have to fulfill the full quarantine guideline. If you are fully vaccinated, and if you are identified as a close contact, you would not have to quarantine for those 14 days. You would just be monitoring yourself for symptoms. As soon as you do have symptoms, then we're going to ask you to stay home, and there will be further advisement about testing. Just a brief reminder for staff about travel. So CDC, and I just double checked today, the guidance is unchanged from CDC and VDH. The recommendation is for you to not travel unless if you're fully vaccinated. In regards to testing and quarantine, life events happen and you may still need to. Now, if you are traveling within the United States, there is no quarantine guideline. If you travel outside of the United States, now that country that you're traveling to may have their own guideline that you'll have to meet in regards to testing. But now this is for folks that are fully vaccinated. Upon your return this is travel outside of the United States, the recommendation is that you do get tested somewhere between 3 to 5 days after you return from international travel. You do not need to quarantine unless if you're having symptoms, if you're fully vaccinated. The other thing I wanted to update you guys on is just a reminder, we've had many previous discussions before about if you are vaccinated, that doesn't mean that you have 100% immunity. So, as more data is coming out, looking at all the folks that have been vaccinated to date, this is within the United States, the number looks like around 6,000 breakthrough infections have been reported, which in total is less than 1% of the people that are fully vaccinated. So all of this is very good data. And I think even of those 6,000 people that are followed, their symptoms were much less, generally not requiring hospitalization. So obviously we strongly encourage and are supporting vaccinations because that equals fewer infections and fewer variants. In regards to variants, we had this discussion before. We projected, or the researchers projected, that the UK variant would be the dominant variant, and it is currently of I think beginning of April, it was more than 30% across the United States, which is very well covered by the mRNA, by all 3 vaccines that are currently available here in the United States. The data looks really good for folks that have received the mRNA vaccines. Even with a 1-dose vaccine, the studies are showing that it reduces the risk of an infection by 80%. If you're fully vaccinated with 2 doses of the mRNA vaccine, reduce risk of infection is by 90%. So it's very much in alignment with that data that had initially come out. One more interesting data I want to share with you. This is from the Allergy and Asthma Network. So this came from physicians that are sort of in the trenches, in the clinical field, seeing patients every day. They're reporting, and this is initial data, not final data, but that for individuals that do have what we define as natural immunity, so those are people that contracted COVID and recovered, that immunity appears to be more variable than the immunity we get from the vaccines. So meaning even people that had natural immunity, so let's say they contracted COVID 6 months ago, they're seeing that those people without the vaccination are able to get COVID again. So that immunity is stronger with the vaccinated folks versus people that have that natural immunity. I hope that makes sense. So this makes a very much stronger case. I think we had some questions earlier about, well, do I still need to get the vaccine if I've had COVID? So the recommendation is yes. So I think that was the last bit I wanted to share.
On the vaccine, if you've had COVID, I've heard different things. Is there a wait period since you recovered, or is that something you discuss with your physician?
Yes, good question. There is no wait period unless if you are if you're having active symptoms. That would be the only exclusion. And I know initially, I mean, now vaccines are much more readily available. Some states are even seeing quite a bit of decline and are having to waste, unfortunately, some of the vaccines that are available. But initially, when so many wanted it and it was hard to get, I think some physicians were telling their patients that did have previous COVID, because you do have a good period of 3 months, you know, that's where the data is at, that they could wait,
Okay.
you know, to cover the high risk group. But yes, so even if you've had it, everyone should be getting it. There's no wait period unless if you're actively having symptoms.
Great, thank you.
And Gian, also I wanted to remind staff, if, you know, because everyone's getting vaccinations and restrictions are being lifted outside and the weather's getting nice, we still are going to follow the guidelines. If you have fever, if you still display symptoms of COVID, you still need to stay home and or leave if you're on site, regardless if you've been vaccinated or not. So that's something that we want to make sure that still continues.
Yes.
And I am happy the weather is getting nice, but you know, we're getting some back to normalcy, so I'm excited about that. But we still need to maintain vigilance of, if you're still displaying symptoms, stay home or go home. And then also I encourage everyone to finish the vaccination surveys we sent out last week. Tomorrow's the deadline. We've got a lot of responses. We still have a few more to go, but it's great. Good to hear. I will let you know now that regardless what site you're on, I would say a majority of your staff, your colleagues, have been vaccinated. So kudos to everyone.
And we're looking for 100% response on that survey. It's anonymous. It's going to get sent out again. So make sure you don't worry about whether you think you did it before, because if you try and do it a second time, it actually won't let you if you've already done it. So that'll tell you that you already completed it. Okay, great. I think that's it then. And again, if you have questions, submit them to hr@phillipsprograms.org. And we will see you again soon. And hopefully one of these days we can end these. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Okay.
Piper.
Thank you, Gian. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Marvy.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.